Hi, I'm John from Gentleman and Whiskey, and Limestone Farms sent us a sample of their bourbons, so it's time to put them to the test. Stay tuned after the break and we'll talk about it. So Tom from Limestone Farms, I believe he is their marketing manager, reached out to me and asked if he could send me some samples. So these have been provided by Limestone Farms to me. That does not mean I will not be objective about it. I'm really interested to try what they have. They are up and coming and they are Kentucky sourced. He did say that we can order them here in Pennsylvania. So if you're interested in any of these, you can find the link below. It is, I believe, lfdistilling.com. There's a few things that I like right off the bat about Limestone Farms. First thing is the transparency. They have ages on, I believe, all of these. And they also have mash bill. However, NDAs sometimes negate that ability for small-time distilleries, and that's just kind of, unfortunately, the way that things go. So he told me to go Bloodlines, Select Batch, Small Batch, and Private Stock, or Private Select. Private Batch. Was very wrong on that one. So we will quickly run down what each one is as we're tasting it, and we'll go through what the website tells us, because the website tells us literally almost everything. Let's get into it. So we're going to start with the Bloodlines. It is 95 proof Kentucky straight bourbon, and we're tasting 4, so I'm trying not to get super turnt, so I'm doing light pours. It is sourced from Kentucky, premium 6 and 9-year-old barrels. Apparently it can be anywhere between 94 and 96 proof. This batch is 95, and it is a mash bill of 78% corn, 13% rye, and 9% malted barley, and that is not a distillery that I recognize. So I'd imagine it's probably contract distilled, and I'm very interested in that. So here's the Bloodlines. Let's see what it's got on the nose. It's very fruity and floral. Kind of got like a little bit of a honeysuckle thing going on that I frequently find when there's a fruit and a floral note. Very sweet up front. A little bit of like marshmallow behind that. Faint bit of like dry oak. Almost comes off a little bit like peanut shells. It is a faint bit nutty. Has just a little whisper of youth there that's kind of coming off like maybe like some young corn. But otherwise, it smells really good. Let's give it a taste. Okay, so it's very leather and oak forward, super ripe banana, kind of a dry astringency, like very, very slight. It's not like drinking a Chardonnay, but it's like maybe like a little bit of Cab Sav, little drying on the palate. Has a great mouthfeel though. It's very thick, very coating. It's definitely nutty. It definitely has like a wine kind of consistency. Like it is very comparable to, I would say, like the bourbon version of a Cab Sav. It's a little dusty. It's got some like faint rickhouse to it. The finish has a little bit of citrus, a little bit of marshmallow, and then a good amount of oak. It doesn't taste young. Maybe I was just picking up on something different on the nose. I think it's pretty good. It is $60, and if I was faced with a bottle, I probably wouldn't buy one simply because it's 95 proof, and that's generally not in my wheelhouse. However, this is very tasty. I think if you are not as proof houndish as I am, this could be right up your alley. I think it's a competitor for stuff like Russell's 10-year, although it is a little bit more expensive. But craft whiskey generally is, because they can't make it as cheaply as legacy distilleries can. What we call the craft tax here. If that 95 proof is in your wheelhouse, I would definitely recommend you pick it up. So that's the Bloodlines. The next we have is the Select Batch. Now, the Morgan Family Collection Select Batch is also a blend of 6 to 9-year-old whiskeys, a 115 entry proof. So it is a little bit lower than most distilleries do at 125. It's the same mash bill, 78% corn, 13% rye, 9% malted barley. And the proof is generally between 110 and 113. And this one is at 111, so that is very solidly in the middle. I already like the color difference for this one. The Bloodlines was a little bit lighter. This one's a little bit darker. Let's see what it's got. There's something very familiar about it. Like, it smells like something that I've had before. I can't quite wrap my head around it, although it's giving me faint Smoke Eye Hill vibes, although not quite dialed to 11 like Smoke Eye Hill is. It's definitely like vanilla and like marshmallow forward. The Maillard's reaction, like Ross, the master distiller at 1792, has informed me that it's called. anything burnt sugary, that's kind of what this smells like. There's a little bit of banana, like a little bit of like butteriness on the nose. It doesn't smell very proofy. It has a little tinge at the end of the nose, but it's not super hot. Let's see what it tastes like. It's hotter on the palate, but it's a good heat. It's definitely not as winey as the last one. It's more dark, it's more rich. It's got a little bit of chocolate, a little bit of leather, a little bit of oak. It's darker and richer. It's a little bit sweeter. The finish definitely has a lot of that chocolate note. There's almost no fruit sweetness to it, but there's definitely some brown sugar, some marshmallow, some of that. And then the finish is very rich. This one's obviously $100 plus shipping. I could see myself buying a bottle of this. I really do enjoy it. It's kind of Maker's Mark cellar aged. It's got a little bit of heat to it. I think it drinks a little bit above that 111, maybe somewhere closer to 120, something like that. It is not young. It's got great notes. All in all, I don't know what else I could ask for out of it. I think this is something that I could buy. I'm actually very excited by this. It really reminds me of cellar age. So moving on to the small batch. So the small batch is 8+ years old. It is the same 78-13-9 mash bill, and it says proofs range from 112 to 120. This one is 113.6. So let's see what it tastes like. This smells pretty similar to the private batch. Smells pretty similar to the select batch. I'm going to get all of these mixed up because it's basically some mixture of private, select, small. So if I have one small gripe, it's that they need to make their names a little bit different. Deep brown sugar and molasses on this one. Some oak, some leather, a little bit of cherry. This one actually is coming off a little staggy to me. Like the nose is a little bit stag-like. It doesn't have a whole lot of ethanol to it, although stag usually doesn't either, but definitely some cherry. Let's see what it tastes like. It's definitely some fruit sweetness. It tastes a little bit like a love child of the first two. Like it's got some grape notes to it. It's got some marshmallow. It's got some really rich caramels or molasses or brown sugar. My only gripe is the finish is very short. It's missing a little bit there, although it's kind of got like a marshmallow whipped cream kind of thing that lingers, but that's a little bit too faint to give a nice clean finish to me. It doesn't drink hot. It drinks very smooth. It drinks unobtrusive. It drinks a little like delicate. I don't like this one as much, and it's a $40 price jump. The finish is the only thing holding me back. I think I probably wouldn't buy a bottle. It's very tasty. It's just a little bit too delicate for me. Moving on, they said that they would put their private batch, sorry, I had to double check because I knew it was private something. I thought private select. I don't know. They said they would put it up against anything on the market. It is their top end offering, and I'm really excited to try it. So let's see what it is, and then we'll see what it's like. So it is 8 years old, exactly. Doesn't say 8+, just says 8. It is between 114 and 120 plus proof. The mash bill is actually different. It is 70% corn, 10% honeyed wheat, 10% honeyed barley, and 10% distillered malt. That's an interesting mash bill. That makes me more excited. And the thing that is a little bit tricky is it is $189, but I have spent more than that on craft whiskey before and really enjoyed it. So let's see what it's like. This one comes in at 113.6 proof. So all of these have kind of been towards the bottom end of their scale. I'm assuming that they have other whiskey coming, but right off the bat, you need to see this color. This color is dark. It is absolutely crazy. It is probably one of the darkest whiskeys I've seen, including Coy Hill and 13th Colony Double Oak. So I'm excited for this. Let's see what it smells like. Wow. Okay. This is not a negative for me. I know it can sometimes be, but it smells like a cologne. It's a little bit herbal. It's a little bit oaky. It's a little bit like vanilla, a little bit maybe cedarwood kind of thing going on, but it smells like a cologne that I totally would wear. After a couple sniffs, there is a crazy grape note to it that's like grape jam, like Smucker's grape jelly kind of thing. The nose on this is wild. It's not hot, but it has a little bit of something to it. I'm excited to try it. Let's see how it tastes. So I know I talked about the last one smelling stag-like on the nose. This tastes stag-like. Definitely got grape jelly forward, a lot of oak, a lot of like dusty oak, kind of like, I call it Rickhouse funk because it tastes like a Rickhouse smells. A little bit of like peanut shells to it. Maybe it's just the influence of knowing that it's honeyed wheat and honeyed malted barley, but it definitely has a distinctly honey taste to it. The finish definitely has that honey. It's got some leather. It's solidly fruity, oaky, leathery, has a lingering finish, a good Kentucky hug, the first one that I've gotten off of any of these. They might be right. This batch I could see maybe in the top 10 of the year. My mouth's tingling a little bit. It's got great flavor, and I think it's great craft whiskey. The price is a little problematic. It's $190, and I don't know that I like this as much as I like, say, 13th Colony Double Oaked. However, I think it's a solid product. I could definitely see quite a few people, especially the people who like products like Smoke Eye Hill or 13th Colony Cask Strength. I think it's great. I think all of these are very good whiskeys. I would assume that they're getting contract distilled whiskey because that's not a mash bill that I recognize. And then they're going to do the same thing that Bardstown Bourbon Company is doing now, where they're sourcing the same mash bill and the same yeast strain that they are then making into their own products. And I think that makes for a much more seamless transition than what, say, High West is doing, where there has been a noticeable drop-off in some of their whiskeys. And Limestone Farms is making their own distillery. They're set to open in, I believe, 2027. They're about to have the second largest pot still behind only Woodford. And I think especially with some of these offerings, different batches have the potential to be home runs and very sought after. So I think they're up and coming and definitely one of those whiskeys that you need to watch, especially the batches of the Private Select. I think those could be really, really good. It seems like they're blending well. It seems like they're doing a lot of things really well. And I'm excited to see what they come up with next. So if you enjoyed these, or if you think that there's something that you want to order, the link is in the description. I don't gain any commission. I just got 8 ounces of free whiskey. I think it's objectively good whiskey. I think it's probably not for everybody. And the price is definitely in line with other craft distilleries. However, the whiskey itself is good. If you want to check out their bottles, the link is in the description. They do ship to Pennsylvania if you are like me and live in PA. I do have enough left in this Private Select to do exactly what they're asking and put it up against some of the best products in the market. So that will be coming. I will be blinding this against some other top products, possibly including Maker's Mark Cellar Aged, because that is right about at that proof point, roughly. If you want to support the channel, check out our YouTube memberships if it's something that's interesting. It's only $2 a month. We've got a lot of stuff going on there, and we've got access to our Discord, which is our own personal community. We'll be doing some fun stuff there, including maybe some giveaways, some virtual hangouts. It'll be a fun time. In addition, we've got Patreon coming. We've got a merch store. If you want to check out any of that stuff, check the link in our description. Our link tree has all of that. If you like this content, check out our other videos. Please like and comment on this video. Tell us if you're interested in trying any of these, if you're going to purchase them. If you purchase them and you want to report back, please like and comment on this video and subscribe if you haven't already. And we hope you'll join us in drinking like a gentleman. Cheers. If you want to purchase them and report back whether or not I'm full of crap, I'm always open to constructive criticism.